Hey everybody. Um, I haven't done this in a very long time, and I still can't bring up guests yet, apparently. I cannot bring up guests yet, so apparently I can't do that yet. I can't do this yet. No guests I can bring up stuff yet. So let me say something. The title of this one is called, it's going to be a limited live. I don't know how long I'm going to be on, maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes. But the crux of anti-racism work, right, is basically this. The crux of anti-racism work is basically to convince whitey people to give up something or dismantle or destroy something that they presently benefit from overtly and paradigmatically and subliminally, and basically in ways that they don't even realize that they do. That is essentially what anti-racist activism is trying to do. I mean, we're basically trying to get whitey people to give up something that they benefit from. Period. Let me know if I'm wrong. We can't appeal to their morals. That doesn't work. It's obvious that trying to appeal to whitey people's morals, right, doesn't work. They are not going to undo racism. Trying to appeal to their shared humanity, empathy, that kind of stuff, that doesn't work either. Trying to appeal to them on the basis of you're working class, I'm working class, we need healthcare, you need healthcare, we would like better benefits and jobs, we would like we would like safety in jobs, and you want safety in jobs, that doesn't work either. Try to tell whitey people that, hey, you want a nice neighborhood to live in, we want a nice neighborhood to live in, we want safety in our neighborhoods to live in, you want safety in our neighborhoods, so let's come together to do it. That doesn't work. Telling them on a financial basis that, listen, man, as a post I made a video about this. Trying to come at so-called capitalists who are about capital, making money. Trying to approach it from the point of view like, listen, if you do away with racism, the pool of money that you would avail yourself of, meaning ideas that are worth funding, inventions that are worth funding, business opportunities that are worth funding, skilled, capable people of a different demographic who are once kept out of availing themselves of the American capitalist machine would actually end up making you more money. Appealing to them on that ground, because if you're a pure capitalist, you should be anti-racist as hell, because like the study that came out, at least 16, maybe as much as $50 trillion of wealth is missing from the United States directly due to racism, directly due to, quote unquote, let me say it plainly, whitey people insisting that black people, especially, but not just them, but black people especially, be blocked from availing themselves of all the levers of benefit, of all the potential benefits of opportunity and prosperity and success and wealth building that this country has to offer. Whitey people insisted that black people especially must not be allowed to do that. Why? Because subliminally, and this is subliminally, How can you avail yourself of your how can you avail yourself consciously of your subconscious? So those of you YT people seeing this who are gonna get upset, I don't know what's in your heart, let me tell you something. Subliminally, YT people have required the perception that black people are beneath them, that black people are not doing as well as them, that black people cannot do as well as they are. That is the main reason, that is one of the major benefits of agreeing or accepting being whitey in this country. And internationally too. But I'm sticking with this country. So you block black people especially from doing everything, from getting any sort of benefit. And and what's worse, and this is the thing, I'm rambling a little bit because I'm just trying to wrap my head around all the stuff I've been seeing the last, I'm going back to like decades of this shit, because I'm a history buff. I love history. Most of the books I read are history, and I'm seeing one like connecting thread. YT people insist that black people especially must be perceived as being beneath them, and nothing that is done towards making sure that that perception persists, right? Sorry for the alliteration. Making sure that perception persists. Nothing that's done to make sure that perception persists is wasted energy, or is a wasted action. In a sense, a lot of YT people's perception of democracy and democracy working properly is if that separation, if that disparate existence of YT people here and black people especially here, their perception of democracy means that separation and that power pyramid dynamic needs to exist and needs to persist. Otherwise, democracy isn't working right. Hence, when they polled a lot of Trump voters polled a lot of people going to the polls this last time, they talked about the other voters said, democracy was was the top issue. What the media thought was, when they said democracy was the top issue, the media thought they meant it the way the Democrats have been talking about it. They didn't mean it the way YT people with barely disguised racial angst, or YT people in the thralls of their racial backlash, their racial anxiety, right? They didn't mean it in the way YT people meant it. But the YT identity has meant that if that racial dynamic, that racial power of action, racial power pyramid, that disparate existence between whitey and black, right? That delta of power, where the whitey folks have the power and the black people have less power. If that is not persistent, if that is challenged, if that essential delta, and that delta in terms of what that number should be has always been very, I would call, has been very sort of random, ad hoc, schizophrenic, and it's totally up to the random whitey beholder to decide what that is. But if that is encroached in any kind of way, then you have a definite reaction, an almost guaranteed reaction from a majority of whitey people. I said a majority of whitey people. A lot of you going to hear this live and probably going to think I'm saying all whitey people. And, I even hate that I even have to say that. Because I'm not trying to get this live, get myself reported. Because, playing victim is getting old. And that's the point of privilege. That's privilege right there. That's privilege right there. That's privilege right there. You have all the benefits, you're benefiting 24/7, and you get to wag your finger. Oh, you stop complaining. And that's the nihilism of being whitey. That's the nihilism of it. So tired of this, man. It's like, and here's the crazy thing, going back to what I said in the beginning. How do you get whitey people to give up something that they benefit from, that they don't even realize that they benefit from, right? Okay? That is essentially lethal to black people and others of color. How do we get them to stop doing that? How do we get racism to be totally broken in all spheres, whether institutionally like that? Because it is essentially unaliving black people and others of color. They benefit from it. And it's such a subliminal, tell. They consciously can't admit that they do. Because they don't think they do. But it's obvious that they do from how everything functions. How the law works for you. From how you collectively act, what you collectively do, constantly. You obviously benefit from it. But at the same time, it's unaliving us. How do we get whitey people to stop doing something that unalives us, but that they benefit greatly from? Their whole confidence in their whole confidence and comfort of being of accepting the mantle of being whitey, right? Is based largely on the benefit that they get from it. It's a paradigmatic benefit. How you see yourself, your paradigm, how you see the world is couched in this whitiness. And this whitiness is paid for vampirically by the blood of people that look like me. Especially people that look like me. Lives are being taken to prop up and to maintain the efficacy and the cachet of whitiness. How do we get them to do it? That's what the anti-racism activism is about. And oh my goodness. Wow. So the comments are being filtered. That means I probably have a lot of freaking, oh my Lord. I probably have a lot of nasty comments under this as it is right now. Oh my goodness. You see, and even that. And here's the further complication. Their subconscious, hegemony, their subconscious sociocultural programming allows them to lash out like this guy. Playing the victim gets old. Right? Allows them to lash out like that. When you talk about this stuff, they get annoyed, they get upset. And they use all that power that they have to ironically visit consequences on black and brown people, black people especially, for making them feel uncomfortable in a highly racist way. And they do this without any sense of freaking irony. None. Like the 2020, the George Floyd demonstrations against police brutality. The police respond to those demonstrations against police brutality by visiting flagrant, overt police brutality on the demonstrators. for everyone to fucking see, which is the same thing you're doing. Which is the same thing you're doing. Fitness, blissness. We're discussing the crux of anti-racism activism. What's the real goal of anti-racist activism? And I'm describing how utterly kind of like cyclical and sometimes it feels fruitless that it is. Because you're trying to get the majority demographic in this country who have all the power, who control all the spigots of power, who benefit from this racial caste system. You try to get them to dismantle something that they benefit from because it is literally unaliving black and brown people, black people especially. That's the crux of what we're trying to do. And it's crazy because when you try to get them to do that because unaliving you, whitey people insist, frankly, they don't say that overly, but when you look at the sum total of their protestations, they're insisting that you continue to exist and you continue to shed blood, you continue to lose your life because my comfort is worth that. It's like whitey people are saying, I'm entitled to your people's carnage, your people's destruction. I'm entitled to that because my whitey identity promised me that. My whitey identity dictates that it be such. And I'll visit any manner of violent or retributionary actions on you towards that end. I'll sundowntown you. I'll race riot you. I'll run you out of town. I'll block you from. I'll take over your school districts. I'll white flight you. I'll redline you. Whatever I need to do to bolster that whitey identity. Whatever I need to do to preserve perceptionally, and perceptionally is the key thing. Whatever I need to do to preserve perceptionally the separation between whitey and black and maintaining a certain arbitrary schizophrenic delta between us two, a subjective delta between us two, whatever I need to do to keep that separate is worth it. It is part of democracy. So we're essentially asking whitey people to get rid of something that they benefit from, that they have been benefiting from for generations, because it is unaliving us. It is literally destroying us. And their responses is, no, I refuse to. You're making me feel uncomfortable by even asking or talking about this or discussing this. And the sum total of the message is, well, I deserve whatever benefit I'm getting from your destruction, your unaliving, because I deserve it because that is what I was promised. Just restating that again. And so honestly, I do not know where do we go from here. I do not know how do we continue from there. I really don't know, how do we go from there? I don't know. I'm open to suggestions, but it seems like I'm getting comments filtered, so I can't even see half the comments under there. Probably some really nasty comments under this thing that are being filtered that I'm probably not going to see until later, which is unfortunate. So I don't know. I don't know where do we go from here? How do we do this? Because as we can see, whitey folks are willing to break their own shit harm themselves if it means perceptionally that separation of benefit and power, right, is maintained. They are willing to harm themselves if that means they're maintained. Oh, I don't like how black people are talking. Black people are talking to me too funny. You know what? I'm going to vote for Trump to make them shut up. Yeah, but Trump's going to destroy your health care. Well, I don't care. I just need them to shut up. But Trump's going to destroy your health care. Is going to destroy the Department of Education. And you have an autistic child. And your autistic child is going to be left without benefits, without anything. Yeah, but I don't like how they're talking about, us white folks. That needs to stop. That needs to stop. I'm going to vote for Trump because Trump doesn't make me feel guilty for being white. But Trump's going to destroy everything you depend on in your daily life. He's not going to drop the price of eggs. He's going to cause everything to go up because he's going to put tariffs on there. Yeah, whatever. I don't understand how that stuff works anyway. But I don't like being made to feel. Them liberals and the Democrats make me feel, and the black people make me feel like if I'm a bad person for being white. So I'm voting for Trump because he doesn't make me feel bad for being white. But he's going to do all this other stuff for you. He's going to make you being able to afford a house. He's going to make the price of the interest on the car loans that you get. Is going to make the price of eggs that you say you voted for. He's going to make the price of groceries skyrocket. He's going to institute the draft again so your son and your daughter have to register for the military once they reach high school age. Whatever. I don't like how these black people are making me feel. I don't like that they're talking about. I don't like they talking about all these transgender folks. I don't like all this trans stuff. So I'm voting for Trump to tell those people to get back into the closet. I'm voting for Trump to tell all these black people to shut up and stop talking like that. I vote for Trump because I don't like to see all these black and brown people that don't speak English hanging around my neighborhood. Yeah, but he's going to destroy everything else that you hold dear. He's going to destroy the unions that your grandfather and your father and your uncles and them used to pay for the life you live right now. He's going to destroy the GI Bill that your grandfather and your great-grandfather were able to pay for the family home that you live in right now. He's going to gut the GI Bill is going to gut veterans benefits that your grandfather and your father's presently using to treat his cancer. He's going to gut that. He's going to get rid of all of that. But look, whatever, man. I don't like they keep wanting boys to be girls. They haven't, they keep wanting boys to be girls and girls to be boys. They're in favor of that stuff. I'm not in favor of that stuff. That stuff's weird. So I'm going to vote for Trump to stop all that stuff. And here's the thing, guys. This is not new. This has been the main whitey majority's modus operandi, macro behavioral operandi in this country for centuries now at this point. You constantly harm yourselves just to put a perceived other, whether it be black, whether it be Native American, whether it be the Asians like that, the Chinese Exclusionary Act and all that stuff, back in their place. He's gonna gut the Affordable Care Act. He's gonna gut Medicare, Medicaid, whatever, because majority of you, he's got permission. At least he thinks he has permission to do so because you put him in, despite him being flagrantly racist. And a lot of you voted him because you have this racial angst. You don't like feeling guilty about being white as far as you're concerned. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he did, and they don't care. He did, and they do not care. They do not care. Instead, they believe old wives' tale about reptilian politicians eating kids in the basement of pizza parlors in Washington, D.C. That's a real thing. I think one guy's son got arrested because he actually broke in armed, figured he was going to save people. Man, I am just like, people didn't care about that shit. 34 felonies, they put him back in office. Man did the crime. Y'all, I am just, I don't know what to do anymore, man. I do not know what to do anymore. But hey, I think I may have to come off of this live right now. I told you guys at the beginning that this was a limited live. But yeah, anti-racism work is essentially getting whitey folks to give up something that they benefit from greatly. Give up something that's been seminal to their whitey identity. Because it is fatal to all other groups who are not white. That is the job. And as we've seen in history, read so many books, Red Summer, the tragedy of Mary Turner and so many others. That is a tall fucking order. Because whitey people, I guess it's a human thing. They don't like to give up on what benefits them. But the cognitive dissonance of whitey people, of that whitey identity, that whitey racial identity, specifically that one, is a study in societal hegemonics that I think, like, W.E.B. Du Bois and them have been talking about it, and I think it's rich for further examination and discussion. But, let me tell you something. What brings me comfort in this day and age, knowing that God... Let me tell you something. I am agnostic at best and probably atheist in practice. Okay? Yeah, I think he is. If God was such a good God, God would have stopped a lot of the shit that went on in this country alone from happening. God would have found a way to stop Trump from being president the first time around, and would definitely have stopped him this time around if God was so great, if God was so benevolent, and God was so humanistic. So no. Y'all can pray to God all you want. Yeah, you can pray to God all you want. It had not helped us. As a matter of fact, I consider religion as it was taught to the black enslaved in the Western Hemisphere. It was smoke. It was similar to smoke being put on bees to make them to calm bees down, to make bees sluggish. And the religion was used to make black people sluggish, to make us less volatile, less revolutionary, less more compliant to what they wanted us to do or what they wanted us to be. So religion was used to domesticate us, to use that term, to make us docile. So no, I do not care about this whole shit about praying and God knows all and God will pay them back. I'm sorry, but fuck that. It's never worked. Has never worked and will never work. And all our revolutionaries, all our civil rights icons, including Martin Luther King, had to do some things, had to say some things that, quote unquote, were not, quote unquote, godly. Martin Luther King was not beyond using a pew pew to protect him and his family. And he had people around him who had pew pews. And they were ready to put in some work if they had to. Is that godly? Is that what the teachings of the Bible tells us we're supposed to do? Was that turning the other cheek? No, it wasn't. So if that's what you need to get through your day, to function, to make sense of this crazy world, then fine. You do that personally. I'm not going to take that from you personally. But trust me, that is not a macro prescription for black people in this country. And we need to disabuse ourselves of that. It is not a macro prescription for black people in this country. Yes, we have been socialized to take to take the black church seriously and to defer to the black church. But the black church, I find, has been useful in the past when they've locked arms with the revolutionary spirit of our people, when the black church is fighting for justice. The black church is harmful when it forces us to conform and be docile and to just let things happen and don't resist. Anyway, yeah, I gotta log off of this now. I gotta go. But yeah, anti-racism work is about getting whitey people to give up something that they benefit from intrinsically per their identity and socioculturally and sociopolitically and socioeconomically. We're trying to get them to give it up because the cost of that benefit has been lethal to especially black folks and other people of color. I don't see how we get that done. Whitey folks have responded violently every single time. Violent to various degrees every single time we try to do that work. Every single time. And they're willing to break their own shit. They're willing to die to defend that. Anyways, guys, let me go. Have a good day, guys. Maybe I'll post some clips of this later.